Stop! I'm David Tian, Ph.D. and in this video I answer the question, whose fault is it, yours or hers? Welcome to Man Up, episode 192.
Masculinity for the intelligent man. I'm David Tian, Ph.D. and this is Man Up!
Hey, I'm David Tian, Ph.D. and for over the past 10 years I've been helping hundreds of thousands of people in over 87 countries attain happiness, fulfillment, and love in life and relationships. And here we are in Bali. Welcome to Man Up, episode 192. And we're in Bali, sun setting, gonna grab some dinner, but I'm gonna answer a question first. This one is from the private Man Up Facebook group. And it's a question from Drew, interesting name. All right, I'm with my girl for almost a year, over a year. Recently, I was worried about some things, and hence was not really talking. Okay, let me just first get to his question. Bottom line, he says, it was, number one, it was her fault. She got irritated, and when I called her, she didn't pick up. Number two, I kind of think it's a toxic relationship. How should I get past this? Okay, so here's the context. Recently, I was worried about some things, and hence was not really talking to her since 1 or 2 days. She was asking what happened and stuff. I told her it's nothing. And then today, I said that I'm feeling that we aren't really communicating. Really? Let me repeat what the fuck he just said. Recently, I was worried about some things and hence was not really talking to her. She was asking what happened. I told her it's nothing. And then today I'm feeling that we aren't really communicating. Gee, I wonder whose fucking fault is that, Drew? And he's like, gets to the end like, it's her fucking fault. She's the fucking, you know, dude, you just said it right here. You had some shit happen in your life. She's like, anything wrong? You're like, no, it's nothing. And then you're like, bitch, why aren't you listening to me? You know, it's called communication, Drew. You have to communicate, but it's okay because you're a narcissist. So, you know, I think we might have already kicked this guy out of the group. This is, people send me the questions. I don't, but anyway. And then today I said that I'm feeling that we aren't really communicating. It's like I take care of your feelings and like this, but you don't do the same. You really take care of her feelings and likeness? What does that even mean? You take care of her likeness? All right. And in between we got into an argument and she got irritated and hung up. After 5 to 10 minutes, I tried calling her and left her some messages. Bottom line, it was her fault, and she got irritated. These are all, when I scream like that, it's because there's an exclamation mark. It was her fault, exclamation mark, and she got irritated, exclamation mark. And when I called her, she didn't care to pick up, exclamation mark. Number two, I kind of think it's a toxic relationship for me. How should I get past this? And then some guys, there are 24 comments, actually when this was sent to me, there were 24 comments, there are probably more now, and he opened up some more based on the comments, so awesome to the guys who are questioning him in the comments thread, some good mature comments in the Man Up group. Drew said, I agree to you that blame game is not right, in response to somebody else, but try to see from my view, every time when we fight, 95% it's me who calls her up and tries to sort. Okay, so Francis asked Drew in the comments, can you clarify the situation? It's sort of vague. So Drew said, I was worrying about some studies related stuff. And the fact that me and my girlfriend wasn't really spending good time together, and lately we weren't communicating like we used to. So finally in the evening, I shared all this with her. She tried to understand few, but couldn't finally. Anyway, I've really made up my mind, and I know for a fact that this relationship is toxic one for me, but I'm still kind of attached to her. Yeah, because you're a narcissist and you're getting your narcissistic ego supply from her. It's an easy solution. So he's like, how do I stop being attached to this toxic woman? Well, get a new one. That's for you as a narcissist, Drew. You just need that feedback from the world that you're hot, you're desirable, and that they're going to listen to you even if you don't have anything to say, even if you don't want to communicate your feelings or what's going on in your head. You just want to assume, you just want everyone to know, you just want your girl to know automatically what you're feeling, what you're going through. And if she doesn't, well, fucking blame her. Yeah, that's a really good way to go. Anyway, I have really made up my mind, and I know for a fact that this relationship is toxic, but I'm still kind of attached to her. So how should finally break up? And how should I move on and not go back to her? Exclamation mark. P.S. Still now she didn't care to call me back. It's every time. Whenever she is irritated, she really forgets about me. Okay. So then there's some other guys coming in like, dude, you got to chill out. Are you sure this is happening? And he says in response to Tom here, I have tried everything, brother. I tried communicating with her. It's been 2 hours. She didn't care to call me back or message me. 2 hours. I can't let anyone take me for granted, brother. We really have a communication problem, which I didn't have had with any of my previous girlfriends. So yes, I am sure I want to break up. Smiley face. He wrote a smiley face. So then, so Tom writes back, 2 hours isn't that long, man. It looks like you've... So then Drew writes back, when she hung up, I called her 7 to 8 times only to calm her down. And then I found she was on a call. So she hangs up. He calls her back 7 or 8 times to calm her down, but she doesn't pick up any of those 7 or 8 calls. Can you imagine? Like, they just had a fight and he's just like ripping her phone off. Like, okay. And then I found out she was on a call. I waited and she picked up, and only to say she is not in a right state of mind and is very much irritated. Gee, I wonder why. Okay, so that's all the screenshots that were sent to me. It continues. I think that's enough to conclude what's happening here. So Drew, so basically there are 2 things going on. Drew is either, he's either mildly narcissistic or majorly narcissistic. It's hard to tell just based on that, but there's definitely some narcissism going on there. And he's very much wrapped up in his own shit, and whether he's getting his shit taken care of, whether he's being taken care of, and he considers taking care of her because he will phone her 7 or 8 times in a row within a span of 5 to 10 minutes until she picks up. And when he finally realizes he's getting a busy signal, he's like, oh, she must be on a call now, right? And then he waits till he's not getting a busy signal anymore, and then he calls her again. And then he gets mad if he texts her and she doesn't reply in 2 hours. He's like, bitch, don't you got my back? I got your back. Whenever you're sad, I will fucking call you 7, 8 times in a row. So here's the thing, right? He's blaming her for not communicating, even though he's the one who's holding it in, not communicating with her. And the thing is, it's easy for narcissists and actually the average person to blame, because blame is I take this from Brené Brown. It was a book, what was it? Something about Rise Up or something like that. It was a book after Daring Greatly. I forget the name of it. Rising Greatly or something. Rising Strong. Anyway, where she talks about blame. And it's really good because she has a really good theory around blame. Blaming is what happens when you discharge the pain that you're feeling. And it could have been the pain in that moment, or pain from an earlier experience, or a much earlier experience, some trauma. And you're offloading that pain and the feelings about yourself. It's too painful for you to feel them in yourself, so you offload them and you blame them on you put them on somebody else. That's what's happening when you blame. So right now, it's too painful for his narcissistic self to realize that it's his fault about the communication problem. Like, there's something really bothering me. She asked me, what's bothering you? I said nothing. And then she says, I think we have a communication problem. Like, yeah, you're the communication problem in that example. Now, for her to be attracted to you and to be with you for a year, she must have her own problems, right? So she's either, in a way, a codependent narcissist, or maybe she's just too immature to see the narcissism. That's another option. That's another possibility. But Drew, I think one of the things, I noticed in the way that you respond to the other guy's comments is you're very self-centered. And I doubt you're going to stay in the group for very long, because these guys are going to call you the fuck out on that, which I love about the group. And there's I've been talking about narcissism for over a year now in that group, and expanding on it. I think it's at the root of a lot of the cluster B personality disorders, and a lot of what we consider to be acceptable or cool behavior, a lot of what currently is being valorized as far as like the type of role models that we have in society, are actually, many of them are displaying narcissistic traits and have narcissistic thought patterns and things like that. So people adopt those even if they're not naturally narcissists. But I think with Drew, it's so natural for him to be self-involved that I think he's definitely, is trapped in this narcissistic thought pattern. Now, I don't know how he's going to take that. The average narcissistic, if you're really suffering from NPD, you'll probably like tell me to fuck off, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and all that shit, right? Nah, hey, power to you if you think that. Just like you tell off this woman that you've been in a relationship with for a year, and you put the blame on her, you probably put whatever criticism your friend is trying to give you as blame onto blaming the friend for giving you that. So I don't know if he's going to take that well, but one thing everyone can take away from is, whenever there's a communication problem, you got one thing that guys have a real trouble with is knowing what they're feeling and why they're feeling it. So Drew, in a narcissistic personality, often his own motivations and intentions are inaccessible to himself, to his own consciousness. So the first step to getting out of that narcissistic thought pattern is understanding why you're thinking and feeling these things, and when they don't involve other people. So don't blame others. So what is it about them? Let's say you cannot change them. What is it about them that's triggering what you feel, and why is that event triggering it? All right, so that's the first step, right? Then you start to understand your own operating system of your own mind. And then you can go from there, right? So that'll get you out of the narcissistic pattern where you're just blaming others. Turn that mirror on yourself and ask yourself why you feel this way. Now, obviously, Drew, if you really think so lowly of her, obviously the thing to do is to leave. But you're just whining and bitching and moaning, right? So like, you're in that in-between state because you haven't found your next victim. That's what his perspective. But a lot of guys, they're like, oh, I want to break up with her, but I can't. No, dude, you have to understand why you're stuck in this. Why are you so attached in this way? What is it that you're getting from her that's keeping you in this relationship? Another thing is, this is clearly a transactional relationship. So the guys who've been watching the Man Up episodes for a while, you know what I'm talking about. The different levels of love, right? You start off with need love, like a little baby who is like babies are self-centered, right? So they don't have that self-other differentiation yet when they're first born. So they have like just basically when they feel hungry, they go wah, 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 and well, lo and behold, they get some food, right? So that's need love. When you're just like, I need this, and you get it, like hopefully, and that's the love, that's the need love. So the second level is transactional. Most of the world is in transactional love. Dhruv is in transactional love. So if you, as long as you keep giving me what I need, I'll keep giving you what you need. And if you pull back, well, I'm fucking pulling back. And then he's like, blaming you, fucking you're the one who broke the contract, in the unspoken contract in the first place, even though his communication skills are obviously poor, but he's gonna blame her because he wants out. So he's not getting the narcissistic supply anymore. So that's a transactional relationship. Most people are in one. The next level above that, and so transactional relationships will not last. It's just, they won't last for very long. They won't last for 50 years, definitely, or even 30 years. There's going to be a challenge to have them last for 20 years. And the next level above that is unconditional love, and you really need to be careful about who you enter that kind of love relationship with. And even if they hurt you, even if they do something that you completely didn't foresee and they hurt you real bad, and you can't forgive, or you can't forget that, or actually forgetting is the wrong word, you can't like get over it and stay in that relationship. It's too dangerous for you. So if that's the case, you can continue to love them, in fact. That's the deep thing. Just like if your child is completely rebellious, wants to kill you and all of that, you can continue to love the child even as you sign the papers to lock that child up in jail because that child is now a menace to society or whatever. You can still continue to love it. And that's a deep thing about love. Most of the world has no fucking clue about what love is. It's very sad because they've lost the classical tradition. They don't study any of the classical books or any of the classical literature or any philosophy. They think philosophy is Jack Donovan. That's a fucking joke. So, I mean, like most of the world is dumb in the fucking head. They think they're smart, but they're, anyway, don't get me started. So there we go. That's Dhruv's answer to Dhruv's question. He's displaying clearly narcissistic tendencies, and he's blaming others. It's really easy to blame others. Before you blame others for your problems, or for the relationship falling apart, turn that fucking mirror to you and try to figure out what is it that's creating that unrest, that feeling that you don't like, whatever that feeling is, a negative feeling that you want to get rid of. What is causing that? Other than the other person, what interpretation in your mind is causing that, and what led to that? That's where the solution lies. Stop trying to just putting all the blame on other people and trying to, well, if you can't, trying to change them or hoping that they will change. That's like the nicer version of that. But really try to focus on yourself and what you can change, what's going on and causing in your head that's causing all of that, all that negativity that you don't want to feel. All right, so there you go. I got to get some dinner. It's hard to summarize that question, that answer, but there's a lot of narcissism and blame. So narcissism and blame, closely related. All right, man. Join the private Facebook group. We answer your questions in there. Really great community inside there. And it's David Tian signing out until I see you in the private Man Up Facebook group. Man up.